Hello, we are
Creative Consulting.
My name is Drew Tomlinson.
I'm Jia Yilao.
I'm Ariane Merkel.
I'm Brent Brinkman.
And I'm John Yaveldak.
We'll be discussing liar's poker and incentive systems in the business world.
Michael Lewis is an American nonfiction author and financial journalist. In 1989, he published the book Liar's Poker, which introduces his experience of working in Salomon Brothers. As a trainee, Michael Lewis had the power to engage in a trade that involves millions of dollars. The training program at Salomon Brothers was reputed to be the best in the world and virtually guaranteed its graduates a successful career in the market. Furthermore, the lucrative bonus available to analysts mean that men and a few women in their mid-20s might earn several $100,000 a year. Lewis soon discovered that the job contains many drawbacks. The workload was intense, and many of the analysts developed quirks, such as eating binges, as a result of stress. Competition led to a frequent attempt to hijack the deals made by others. A veteran of business in fighting the perf, Lewis offers credit due to him for his most successful deal. John Gurfran, the controlling partner of Salomon Brothers, brought the company to unparalleled success by his shrewd measures of expansion. Gurfran scorned science and relied on his innate psychological skills and toughness. His penchant for the game Liar's Poker, a game based on deception and bluff, exemplifies his unusual approach to business.
Organizations distribute incentives to individuals in order to introduce them to contribute activities. There are three types of incentive: material, solidary, and propulsive. Material incentive usually involve tangible rewards like wages, fringe benefits. Solidary incentive usually involves intangible rewards from the act of association, such as sociability, status, and identification. The last but not least, propulsive incentive usually involves intangible rewards related to the goals of organization, such as working on an election of a supported candidate.
It's the way Wall Street has done business for decades, rewarding its star producers with extravagant bonuses. More than $18 billion last year, an average of $112,000 a worker.
The problem is not the dollar amount, but the incentive structure. It's a heads they win, tails they break even.
On Wall Street, you earn a bonus for delivering business, even if the company has a bad year. The banks say those incentives help them lure and motivate their top talent.
Incentive systems for employees may seem real on the outside, but there are also many problems associated with it as well, and many of those problems were evident in the book Liar's Poker. The first problem with incentive systems is that it increases competition amongst employees. This competition creates more fighting and bickering, and because of this fighting and bickering, they may eventually no longer desire to work together, which leads to an overall decrease in the company's productivity. Competition for incentives also encourages negative behaviors as well, such as cheating, shortcuts, and other unethical behaviors. For example, in the book Liar's Poker, competition led to frequent attempts to hijack the deals made by others. While working at the company Salomon Brothers, the main character, Michael Lewis, had the credit for his most successful bonds deal stolen from him by one of his coworkers. The second major problem with incentive systems is that it's usually temporary. Employees may not feel satisfied with the incentives given to them and may continue asking for more. Also, incentive systems created by managers are usually just ways to buy time on neglecting real issues such as company structure or the intrinsic motivation of employees. The last major problem with an incentive system for employees is that it crushes creativity. Employee incentives often narrows an employee's focus, fosters short-term thinking, diminishes performance, and also crowds out good behavior. For example, in the book Liar's Poker, John Gurfran, the controlling partner of Salomon Brothers, brought the company to unparalleled success by his shrewd measures of expansion. However, the firm eventually overreached itself through its program of issuing junk bonds, and it was eventually forced to make drastic cutbacks that had dramatic effects on the company's profits and reputation. The situation was a total result of the greed by Gurfran and also the incentives dangled in front of him to grow Salomon Brothers' profits.
Do these incentives work?
incentives work when they are designed appropriately.
Compensation consultant David Wise says good incentives keep an executive working in the company's best interests, reward long-term performance, and most importantly, don't pay out when the company fails to perform.
And most of the incentive plans in America usually fail one of those three tests.
In the book, we see instances where employees aren't satisfied by the incentives given or when managers neglect the real problems of the organization. For this, I would suggest that the employees have become too spoiled by the incentives given if they continue to ask for more. But in regards to the faulty management, that is something that should be considered by the company when they see who they are hiring, or they could develop a training program to ensure that their employees correspond to the company's mission. All further work should be closely monitored to ensure that everything runs smoothly. One of the major problems with working towards incentives is that it reduces creativity, long-term focus, intrinsic motivation, etc. I feel that in order to combat this, the company should focus these incentives around new ideas and creativity, which in turn will stimulate performance. In regards to the corruption faced by the company, we see in the novel that Salomon Brothers ruined themselves through their issuance of junk bonds. This is on the company themselves. They should have acknowledged the fact that this kind of corruption wouldn't last long and that they were setting themselves up for disaster. In the future, they should obviously try to leave this kind of corruption out of their business.
The bonus structure on Wall Street has contributed mightily to the global financial meltdown.
Because those bonus plans, says economist Peter Morisi, gave Wall Street bankers the incentive to take irresponsible risks.
Well, if you do that with a banker, he becomes inclined to write bad mortgages and write bad loans simply to have the volume of loans he needs to pay the big salary that he wants.
In order to measure the progress of our solution, we must first estimate the projected outcome of a given objective, then identify the individuals who are in a position to make an impact, and finally standardize the benefits and rewards. We will do so by keeping track of employee behavior and implementing the 3-strike system. This system will comprise of 2 warning notices and a letter of effective termination when the 3rd strike is reached. We will also measure the completed percentage of a stated strategic goal by looking at changes in productivity and volume to make sure our employees are right on task. Finally, we will implement the KPI approach. By identifying key performance indicators that are more within the reach and control of our employees, we can work on focus and execution, ultimately leading to improvements in profits and long-term goals in our organization.
So what is an incentive in the workplace? A business incentive is driven by the amount of effort and quality put into the work of a particular task. In the business world, employees are driven from salary increases, vacation days, or contract extensions. So how does incentives play a large role in Michael Lewis's Liar's Poker? Lewis, throughout the book, explains how Salomon Brothers gained massive profits and mortgage loans, and how Salomon Brothers encountered workaholics like Louis Ranieri and John Gutfreund. Our team has identified the problems that an incentive system brings. 1, it increases competition among employees. Employees are looking for the salary increase and hopefully more vacation days. 2, temporary motivation. Many employees lack motivation when they aren't getting enough money, or vacation days, or a contract extension. And lastly, crushes the individual creativity. Our team, Creative Consulting, came up with a solution. We propose that we must first estimate the projected outcome of a given objective or object that these employees are looking for. We should track our employee behavior and implement the KPI approach. With this solution, we believe that the workplace will strive and increase overall profits. In the backlight of the novel, problems occurred that affected the overall physical and mental health of the employees. The long hours, the conflict within the offices, and the fights for more incentives caused issues within Liar's Poker. So in conclusion, the novel Liar's Poker was driven by money. Especially on Wall Street, they could smell the money a mile away. The typical norms of the Wall Street culture of fast-paced sales, workaholics, and greed all took place during the novel. Michael Lewis's takes readers deep into the daily lives of Wall Street workers, and we learn how incentives plays a large role in the corporate job world.